The trial of Bryan Kohberger, it is still planned for next summer, 2025, but now it has been moved. It is out of Moscow, Idaho, and going to Boise, Idaho, with a brand new judge as well. Joining me to discuss, Jennifer Coffindaffer, retired FBI special agent. I know we talked briefly on this last week, but this is a pretty big deal for the case itself. New judge, new venue, a new pool of jurors. What's your reaction to this big news in this case?
Well, I think it was very important that they choose from another county besides Latah County for the jurors. I think that county and the citizens there were just too scourged with the drama, 5 weeks, even finding the killer, everybody being on edge, everyone knowing about the case. So, my issue is with hearing the news that they couldn't do what they're doing in the Delphi case,
Hmm.
choose the jurors from the big county where many fewer people know anything about the case, but keep it in Latah. And so I was very discouraged to see that they're going to put all the attorneys, all those expenses that are going to be paid. There's 4 defense attorneys.
Hmm.
There's 3 prosecutors. There's all the family of the victims. There's the community that wants to see this. This is 5.5 hours approximately away.
Yeah,
And I just think it's a huge disservice to all the people who have suffered.
it is. I agree. I mean, it's kind of like you got to look at the long game, though. I feel on this, where it is a disservice. But at the end of the day, there'll be a small inconvenience for a couple of months, certainly. But that's got to be better than them going back on appeals here and then having to do this whole damn thing over again and have it stretch out even more years. We're talking about 3 years almost when we finally get to the courtroom as it is.
Well, a couple of things on that, Tony.
Yeah.
There's no way this is going in 2025. My prediction now is 2027. Uh, could extend to 2028. But I think 2027, we haven't even seen a smidge of the motions that are yet to come.
Yeah.
And those are going to continue, the motions and then the hearings on those motions. We've already seen that they have to have numerous experts no matter what the motion is. We just saw 4 experts on this last motion,
Hmm.
3 experts on previous motions. It's unbelievable. They're like little mini trials instead of what a normal motion hearing is usually about an hour. So,
Sure.
if it's even granted. Now we have a whole new judge though.
Yeah.
So we'll see if he's lenient like Judge just allowed everything. We're going to see what happens with this new judge.
And that's an interesting thing because Judge John Judge has been the one overseeing this whole thing thus far. Typically, the rulings and such of the previous judge do tend to hold over to the new judge just as precedent, but that is not always the case. What do you think we're going to see here with this new judge as we now get into new hearings and such, leading up to whenever this trial date takes place?
Well, it's going to be interesting because no one there has ever handled a quadruple homicide case of 4 college students. And this no case there has ever had the notoriety. Certainly, Vallow Daybell, yes, a close second, but nothing to this magnitude, I don't believe. And so it'll be interesting because this judge has never had a case of this magnitude before. So, new territory.
Yeah, the new judge here on this is Stephen Hippler is his name. He's the administrative district judge for Idaho's Fourth Judicial District. Prior to being a judge, he was an attorney for quite some time. He was appointed to the bench, has an extensive legal career in private practice. Been involved in a lot of cases with various impacts around the state, and he also is the administrator for the Fourth Judicial District there. So he has some history, but yeah, this is quite a case. I think I don't know other than if you go to the Supreme Court for the case that you're going to find anybody that has this kind of experience, with a case like this in the past.
Yeah, I agree, and we're gonna know very early on. We had a very good taste of where, Judge was going,
Mhm.
because he was very consistent.
Yeah,
He allowed a lot of latitude in terms of motions. When you compare him to a judge like Judge Gall
yeah.
in Indiana. They are polar opposites in terms of what they allow.
Mhm.
And so I think we're going to see very soon from this judge where he tends to go because judges do tend to be consistent.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so, I just hope that we get a very fair and very, a judge that really realizes the magnitude of this case. I'm sure we will. I can't wait to see his first ruling.
It's going to be really, really interesting to watch that and to see if Ann Taylor is going to regret this decision or be happy with the decision to really push Judge John, if on the moving of the case, because you're kind of rolling the dice when you do that. You could get another Gull, or you could have Judge John Judge, who was pretty lenient. But then you're taking into account like what's the lesser of the evils here, having the jury pool that is likely fairly tainted in that small community, or getting a wider jury pool. Ultimately, it is the jury that makes the decision at the end of the day. But a lot of these trials and a lot of these cases, a lot of the beef of it happens before the actual case or the trial even starts. It's in all of these hearings that lead up to the actual trial itself.
Oh, that's absolutely true. What evidence is allowed? What evidence isn't allowed? Are there Brady Giglio issues against any of the officers? The venue change has been huge. The demolishing of the house, that decision was huge. There were so many decisions that have already been made that have such huge impact. And don't forget, now with a new judge, these lawyers, both sides, except for with the House, could offer reconsideration motions
Mhm.
on certain motions that have already been decided.
Yeah.
So this has huge, huge impact. And I should say, I don't want to mislead, the House, neither side cared whether it was demolished.
Yeah.
So it was an easy, it's an easy situation for Judge when neither side cares. But on these other motions, each side had very strong opinions.
And that was a weird thing that both sides wanted that was were totally fine with the house being gone. I know we talked about it back when they demolished the house, but you got a little more history here on it, a little more, time since it's happened. Have you ever made any sense as to why that the both sides were like, yeah, go ahead, get rid of it? Because it seems like it'd be something the prosecution would want to hold on to.
I agree. It made all the sense in the world for the defense. The defense did not want a jury walking through this horrific crime scene with blood spatter everywhere, with the impression of bodies. Oh my gosh, it would have been just the eeriness of it all.
Yeah.
It would have been very, you know, probably prejudicial toward the prosecution's point. As to why the prosecution, didn't have any issue with it, all I can think is they're happy with all the videos that have been created. But as you and I both know, and I think spoke about, I can look at a house online with this amazing video tour that's cost thousands of
Yeah.
dollars, and it doesn't compare when I go there and I say, "Wait a minute, the ceiling looks way lower, and I can hear the neighbors, and wow, this is what it sounds like when I go up the stairs."
Yeah.
So,
It just seemed. I mean, we saw in the Murdoch case how powerful it was for the jury to go and take the field trip over to the dog kennels. And I know that's not a super common thing to do, but in some really big cases like this, those sort of things go on. So it didn't make a whole lot of sense for that property to be gone, even if it's preserved in a 3D form. It's still just not the same. Little foreshadowing into when we actually do get to trial, that alibi defense. I think that's still kind of up for grabs if it's going to be allowed in. I mean, that could be debated. It seemed Judge John Judge was kind of okay with it. We don't know what this judge is going to say and what kind of an alibi it actually is, being it's just he likes to go drive and look at the stars. How do you think that's going to play going forward in this?
Well, I think that alibi only hurts the defense.
Hmm.
I think the defense wishes they could just take a hook and just pull back on that defense. The prosecution is pleased with that defense
Yeah,
because it already offers up him being in and around the area that all of their cellular data shows he's there.
yeah.
It just gives a reason for why he's there. I think it was one of the worst alibis I've ever seen.
And the thing is, Ann Taylor, she's not a dumb attorney. She's pretty good. I mean, look how many motions she's had for delaying this and moving this around. Her tactics, they're pretty good so far. This is an attorney I think you want if you're Bryan Kohberger. But on that same point, why do you think they brought that alibi defense forward? Was it we have nothing else? I mean, is it? I mean, if there's some sort of evidence that's out there that is exonerating, I would think we would have heard it by now. Of course, we don't know that for sure, but to bring that one forward, that just baffles me as to why anyone said this is a good idea, unless that's the only idea.
I agree with you. It was the only choice. The evidence the prosecution has is too strong.
Mhm.
They're going to have video evidence beyond what we've even seen. They're going to have cellular data beyond what we've even seen. It's going to be way too powerful for them to just say, no, he was at home taking a nap. It's that idea is unfathomable and it's unprovable to them. So they had to go with where the proof is and just provide another reason.
Yeah, yeah, it's such a bizarre one to take a look at. Well, you've been right so far. You said at the very beginning of this that it was going to be 2025 for the trial itself, and now you're saying 27. You've been the one that's on track with it, so I'm not going to be surprised if this does continue to get pushed back that far.
Yeah, it's disappointing. It really is. I feel so bad. I heard from one of the victim families over the weekend, and just it's just so hard on these victim families. Now we know Ethan Chapin's family came to terms with this. They all left for a couple of months and united as a family, united in uh, you know, their religious beliefs and have forgiven, moved on, have their tulip garden and their wonderful sweatshirts,
Yeah,
which if your viewers haven't bought them, they are amazing. I have one, so warm and high quality, by the way. Um, and they've moved on. But for the other families, they haven't all moved on,
yeah,
and they want to see adjudication and of the person that they believed killed their loved one.
yeah. And hopefully they will find that sooner than later. Hey, thanks for checking out the video. Be sure to follow us wherever you download podcasts, and especially Apple Podcasts, where you can get advanced episode and premium content on our premium channel right there. Also, be sure to follow us on social media so you don't miss any breaking updates on the stories that matter to you most. We're on TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook. Just search Hidden Killers Podcast with Tony Brueski, and you'll find us right there. Again, thanks for watching.